What's up, guys? EDA Talk Sports here, back with another video, and this time we've got some UFC breaking news. A lot to cover here. Firstly, starting off with Ilia Topuria, who will be vacating the UFC Featherweight Championship. An absolutely shocking move to some, not to me. I know Ilia's been talking about it for quite a while. We'll get into the reasons as to why he's dropped the belt, but subsequently his fight against Volkanovski has been cancelled and a new fight has been put in place with Volkanovski versus Lopes. And that was a fight that I was like, listen, before Topuria even needs to fight either man, it would be good for these two to fight. And now we're getting it for the Featherweight Championship, which should be very, very exciting. We'll go into who we think the favourite will be and how we think that fight will plan out. However, massive, massive news. Ilia moving from and relinquishing the Featherweight Championship is a massive move, one that he has spoken about. They have spoken about his trouble in terms of making the weight, but also believing that he's achieved everything he needs to in this division. And you can't really, argue with that. He's beaten Volkanovski. He's, climbed through the ranks of the division. Yeah, there were a couple of people he could have faced, but to the level of Volk, probably not. To the level of Holloway, again, probably not. And when you've beaten two of the division's best champions outside of Aldo potentially, then you kind of have to give him this opportunity, especially when you look at what Islam is doing in the lightweight division. The opponents are few and far between. And if Ilia is going to move up and he's going to give up the belt, I believe he knows he's going to have an opportunity against Islam sooner rather than later. And it also adds credence as to why Dana was like, Arman's not going to fight immediately. He's going to have to work his way up, because he had plans in the back of his mind. He knew that Ilia wanted to move up. He knew that Ilia wanted to test himself against Islam. And now we get that. It's going to be very, very interesting for Volk. I think this is a good thing for him. A different fighter to fight up against. Lopes is very, very dangerous. Let's not get that misconstrued. However, I think he would fare his chances better against Lopes than he would against Ilia Topuria. And so massive, massive news, one that we were not expecting for sure, but it wasn't the only news that we would get about that card. The next one being Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett, a fight that I think is very, very interesting for both men. Michael Chandler needs a victory to keep his stock high. Paddy is looking for this breakthrough victory to take him to the next level, and it will be very interesting. Both men have a lot to fight for. Michael Chandler will come with his wrestling game, looking to knock Paddy out with his knockout power. However, Paddy, proficient on the ground, will look to get Michael down and get him into a submission if he gets the opportunity. Very interesting. This is a good opportunity for Paddy, if I'm being honest with you. Chandler, who looks to be on the decline to a degree, this could be an opportunity to take him to the next level, an opportunity that comes few and far between. As mentioned, Chandler hasn't had the best of times recently, so the loss to Charles Oliveira, where he was kind of handily beaten, to me it was a 4-1, maybe 5-0, just complete domination by Oliveira. Paddy Pimblett coming off his win against Bobby Green, and that was a good victory for him as well. Another bit of news that we got was Pitbull, who will be facing Yair Rodriguez. Absolutely excited to see Pitbull in the UFC octagon. I mean, it's been a long time coming. He's got all of the pedigree with Bellator, and it will be very, very interesting to see how he will go against one of the UFC standout fighters. This isn't an easy fight to come in with. However, I do think it's the best of what it could have been, if that makes sense. The featherweight division is full of dangerous men, and Yair Rodriguez is one of them. However, I feel Pitbull would feel very comfortable with his wrestling, with his ability and his experience to deal with a Yair Rodriguez. But it will be very, very interesting, to say the least. Again, Pitbull was meant to fight for the PFL. However, we know a lot of the issues surrounding PFL and some of the fighters there. And so he will have the opportunity to make his UFC debut. You can see now the next bit of breaking news again. It wasn't a small news night for the UFC. Bilal Muhammad will face JDM, Jack Della Magdalena, and he will be replacing Shavkat Ramanov, who unfortunately is injured and won't be able to participate. That means another change for JDM, who was meant to fight Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards will now face Sean Brady. And again, we will get another title fight on this card where Bilal Muhammad will be facing JDM. We'll be getting with Valentina Shevchenko versus Manot Fiorot. An absolutely exciting fight. These two were going back and forth on social media. A fight that both really wanted, and I think another fight to cement Valentina's resume, her legacy, and one for Manot to say, I am here, I'm one of the best in the world, and I'm here to essentially start a new generation in women's fighting. It would truly be an absolutely amazing UFC event, I believe. These two going up against one another, I'm truly excited for it. Bilal versus JDM is going to be very, very interesting. Not seeing Shavkat fight Bilal, I'm going to be honest, I'm very disappointed in. I was looking forward to that fight a lot. I think it would have been a very interesting one. JDM versus Bilal introduces its own dynamic. If I'm being honest with you, Bilal's going to go wrestle heavy. He's going to try and go wrestle heavy. JDM is going to have to be the monster he normally is. Never gives his opponent an easy night, and I doubt it will be any different here. However, it will be a year plus since he last fought, and that has to be taken into consideration against Alao, who won his belt against Leon Edwards. It's also been quite a while since he fought, and that was his last fight. Interesting for both men, but should be exciting nonetheless. Leon Edwards, who misses out with the fight against JDM, could be kind of disappointed not getting the fight against Alao in the rematch. However, the first fight wasn't great on his behalf, and so you can't kind of disparage the UFC for not giving him an immediate rematch. That, to say the least, the London card needs him on that card, and him versus Sean Brady will be very interesting. A clash of styles, and if Leon can't defend those takedowns, if Leon can't keep Sean Brady at his distance, at his reach, then he's going to be at a disadvantage, to say the least. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to keep you guys keyed in about. Gilbert Burns has his next fight against Michael Morales. That should be very, very interesting. Morales is one of my favorite fighters, up and coming, and he's had such a good rise, if I'm being honest with you. And then we'll have Grasso come back against Silva. So that should, again, be very, very interesting. Guys, we've got some exciting UFC cards coming up. Hopefully, guys, you're looking forward to it. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you're most excited for, and I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.